question of the access of the defence to forensically based, science-based evidence. A number of witnesses have suggested to us that it isn't exactly a level playing field between prosecution and defence. What do you think the causes are, and what would you like to see done about it?
I think the actual services that are available to both. When it comes to, from our perspective, in terms of the actual legal aid provision, which is a lot of our source funding, there's two things to really talk about. One is the current system for legal aid is based on the lowest quote, and that's regardless of quality, and that's regardless of whether even if it's fit for purpose. If two estimates are submitted, they go with the lowest one. And I suppose more fundamentally, the legal aid rate now is less than what it was in 1999. So we're really struggling.
You mean in monetary terms?
Yes, the hourly rate that we're allowed to bill legal aid is less than 1999.
So in real terms, much, much lower.
Yes, there's been no index-linked inflation to the actual running costs and the awards that legal aid give. And so we really struggle with that. Some of our areas are losing money, but other areas are doing a little better. But it's very, very difficult, particularly when you're trying to hire people, because we just can't offer the salaries that people are coming to expect, particularly in things like digital, where they can walk into a non-forensic market.
So what's the effect of all of this, in your view?
I think we're just struggling. Ultimately, we're struggling just to keep going as a business. And then when you add the level of accreditation that's becoming to be expected upon us, then it's financially just going to be a massive hurdle to overcome, to try and keep going with a business model like this where the funding's just so tightly reined in. I think the work that was done 20 years ago by the prosecution labs, for example, is still at the same kind of level. There's just less of it. And the work that we're producing is at the same quality level. It's just we're having to do it in shorter and shorter deadlines. And the system's creaking at this point.
But if you're doing it in shorter and shorter deadlines, I mean, doesn't that have an effect on quality?
Absolutely. If the three givens are quality, turnaround time and cost, then it's impossible actually to get low cost, high quality, fast turnaround of samples. That's just not possible. It's impossible. And currently, the current rates that are paid by the LAA for forensic science are too low to enable quality standards to be adopted. I think we need to be mindful that many of the companies who are carrying out LAA funded work are small and micro businesses and sole traders, and therefore the total cost of quality to them is a higher proportion of the turnover than it is for larger companies. And if we expect, as we should, that companies large and small have the same high quality expectations, then there must be equity in the quality, and therefore the LAA rates need to be updated to reflect that, to ensure that the quality continues.
Okay, Barrister Jones, then Lord Fox.
Apologies. One of my frustrations as someone who has recently predominantly done prosecution work is that I very rarely see a defence expert. Historically, I used to spend a lot of time sitting outside the court with colleagues from the profession agreeing technical points, and that saved a lot of time in court. Now, I can't remember the last time I saw a defence report. I can't remember the last time I had that sort of conversation. I am spending far more time in the witness box, taking up the court's time on technical material that counsel is not confident with, that the jury is getting bored with, and frankly I think is often adding to confusion because of the way it's being presented.
And that's because the defence can't afford you? Or why is it that...
For some reason defence experts are not being instructed, are not being used effectively.
Well, I think part of our problem is we're turning work away because we're maxed out to try and keep going in this current market.
Oh, I see. That actually was the point I really wanted to raise with you, which is if, by definition, you say that you keep up your standards, but you're doing less work, and the number of cases coming to court has increased over time, it's not going down. So is it right to conclude that there are an increasing number of cases where actually forensic evidence which could be provided isn't being provided?
Mathematically, that would make sense. Personally, I've no way to know it. But we do turn work away. I just don't know where it goes.
It's likely, is it? Is it likely?
I mean, it does seem very difficult to understand how
It
else.
it certainly seems likely to me that it is not getting the independent scrutiny from the defence side that it deserves.
Okay.